Hey guys, it's Gale Force Online here to bring you another one of my trash builds. Now this one is one I call the Mechanist, which is a Warden healer that I mainly use for PvP. Now being a PvP healer, especially in Cyrodiil, it's not as concentrated and not as focused as PvE healing, where you have certain people standing in spots or allocated positions when you start combat, where in PvP it is just everybody running around everywhere trying to do their own thing. So with this build I try to get as much buffs and as much healing over as large an area as I can, and trying to get a group through to take a castle or something like that in PvP. Now to look at my stats, 29k magika and 17k stamina. So not the, like magika is alright, the stamina I would like to have a bit more. I just haven't quite spec'd the build to that. My resistances are fairly low in the spell and physical resistance, especially in PvP, so not very durable. So if you're taken out of combat or if you're without a group, then this build would definitely not work for you. And now looking at my inventory, my slottable items, just your normal tri-stat food, and I use Essence of Health, which is just tri-stat potions that you craft it yourself. I'd recommend making your own tri-stat potions instead of buying the normal ones, because they tend to be a bit stronger and last longer in duration. Now if you look at this one here, which I made using 3 health ingredients, you can see it lasts for 1.2 minutes, but we'll get to that one in a sec. Alright, so the first set I use is Jorval's Guidance, which is one of the dungeon sets for the DLCs. And what it does, it increases the duration of all the major and minor and damage shields that are applied to myself or allies by 40%. So any buff that I put out that's named, for instance Major Resolve, Major Courage, all those kind of stuff, all those durations get increased by 40%, which is really nice to do. So Restoration Staff on the front bar, use a Lightning Staff on the back bar just to increase my damage output a little bit, but it doesn't do a great deal of difference. But I like to have it on both sides, so whenever I use buffs they get that 40% increase. Now my monster helm, I use Sentinel, which whenever I heal a target or myself, I summon a little Dwemer spider that runs around, which really fits in nice with the Dwemer kind of build that I'm trying to go for. The spider heals you for about 15k health and restores some resources on top of that, so it's not a bad one to use. There are better monster sets to use in this kind of setup, but I just like using this one for the animation and nostalgia. Then the third set I use is Olarim, which you get from the trial in Cloudrest. And what it does, that whenever I'm in combat and I activate an area effect on the ground, it places a little circle on there, and anybody running through the circle that's an ally receives Major Courage. Now that Major Courage is again boosted by the Jorval's set, so it lasts for 42 seconds. So if you have people rushing through a certain area, as long as you place your circle in the area they're around, if they cross that circle they get a nice boost to their weapon and spell damage. Alright, now running through the skills. First one is Combat Prayer, which is from the Restoration Staff skill line. This is a very nice heal, but it also applies a lot of buffs on top of it. So it grants Minor Berserk, Minor Resolve, which increases the damage done by 8% and also increases the resistances of anybody in the area. Now this skill works very nice with the Jorval's again, because it increases it to 11.2 seconds instead of the normal duration, so it's got a very nice uptime. Illustrious Healing is just an AoE skill that I use to heal in an area. So usually if you're standing in front of a gate or somewhere like that, I just like to put that on front on the people that's standing by the ram. So they can receive some healing and hopefully last long enough till the door breaks down. So this one heals for about 1700 health every 1 second for 12 seconds. So it's not a massive amount of healing, but it definitely adds up if you're standing in a big group. Then Budding Siege, which is a similar skill as well. AoE ground skill that does 10k healing over 6 seconds. I can also activate it earlier to do a mass heal. But most, again, put it on the ground by the ram so people can receive some healing while they're trying to break down the door. Soothing Spores, this one I've used on stamina because I tend to use a lot of magika in my healing, and since I don't have a very big resource pool, I tend to run out, especially if I'm spamming. So having a stamina heal adds that bit of extra healing, which just enough to get you over the top and get your allies through that door. And then Echoing Vigor, so 2 reasons I use this skill. It does about 890 health every second, so it's not really great, but it definitely adds a little bit. But more importantly, it adds around the area, so anybody that I heal, because I'm a warden, receives a boost. Let me show you guys here. Minor toughness, which increases their max health by 10%. So it makes my allies a little bit more durable and a lot harder to kill in PvP circumstances. Then for my ultimate, I use Reviving Barrier, which gives me and my group a nice shield. And since I'm using Jaw Vaults, this shield can last up to 42 seconds. So I don't have to use this as sparingly, as within that 42 seconds I can probably generate enough ultimate to nearly cast the shield again. Also, it heals allies for about 1000 health every second, which is not bad, but if you add it up with all the other heals that are happening at the time, it can definitely hold you through. Now on the back bar is charging maneuvers. Basically just use the skill to move around the Cyrodiil area and to moving fast. It also gives me gallop on top of that. Gives major and minor expedition so I can run faster, and again there's that boost of 40% in the duration. Expansive Frost Cloak, so this grants everybody in the area extra physical and spell resistance, so increase their resistance and just make them more durable. Definitely use this around the area to make sure that your allies are able to survive and get through the area you're trying to clear. And then Ring of Preservation. Now just to note on this one that the minor protection applied by this one doesn't actually get boosted by the Jaw Vaults because you have to stay within the circle. So the skill lasts for that 8 seconds while the circle is there. So you don't really get the 40% boost from them, which is a bit of a shame, but definitely still a good skill to use. So if everybody's standing by the ram, having that minor protection around the area and some stamina healing on top of that is very nice, just to make everybody a bit more durable and to push through. Then the Blue Betty, which is my Magicka Restore, and also grants me Major Brutality and Major Sorcery, which increases my healing on top of that very nicely. Removes a negative effect, but usually it doesn't happen that often. People tend to pick damage over using negative effects in PvP. But the Major Brutality and Major Sorcery again gets boosted by Jaw Vaults. And then the last skill that I use here is Energy Orb from the Undaunted skill line. Just usually pop this off now and then as an extra heal in the area. So it does about 1800 health every 1 second. So just to add that extra bit of more healing on top of that, and it leaves a synergy. So if an ally needs to activate a synergy and they usually restore resources from it, spamming this skill definitely helps your allies in restoring those resources from the synergies. And then just reviving barrier again on this side, which is a nice damage shield for 42 seconds and that healing over 15 seconds. So if you look at my skeleton friend there, that's the one I'm trying to heal there, standing by the door trying to break it down. I would just spam through my L1 and square as much as I can. Put down the area heals and just trying to spam through as much healing as I can in a short time to make them survive. Activating my frost cloak, putting down minor protection for them, and sending out an orb so he can activate a synergy. And then just continue spamming. The reason I use magika and stamina is because I can spam these heals one after another, and since I'm drawing from 2 resource pools, it'll take a while before I run out of resources and can't heal anymore. Alright, thanks for listening guys. If you have any ideas for builds that I need to do in the future, let me know in the comments down below. If you like the content I'm putting out, please like and subscribe. Alright, be safe and take care. Bye.